This is Denise. I'm the manager of membership services at CVMA. We're having video difficulties, but the important thing is we can see our presenters and we can see the presentation. So just want to welcome everybody for joining today in today's webinar regarding the CVMA insurance program, innovation in insurance. We have two presenters from Western Financial Group, first being Drew Woodco, the Director of Business Development, and Christy Szynski, Director of Employee Benefits Services. Drew, if you want to go ahead and begin, thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thank you, Denise, and welcome everybody. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedules here to join us for a webinar that's being put on here by our partners with the CVMA.
Thank you. Oh,
sorry. Can everybody hear me okay now?
Yes, go ahead, Drew.
Okay, there we go. Maybe there was an issue there with the mute button. Anyhow, as I was saying, welcome everybody. Thanks for taking time out of your schedules to join us here today. As you see, we've got my colleague here, Christy, and myself. We've got kind of an action-packed hour here. We're going to do our best to give you a nice overview on the CVMA insurance program, both as it relates to the commercial insurance, so property and liability, as well as employee benefits and some important initiatives and things that we do to partner with the CVMA and help their members on a variety of fronts. So we want this presentation to be as interactive as possible. We put some time aside as well for a Q&A session at the very end, but please feel free to toss in your questions into the chat there. We'll try to answer some maybe in the chat, but also leave some time at the very end. So again, we look forward to a good presentation here and hopefully give you a good run through on innovation in insurance. And you say, well, innovation insurance, what does that mean? Maybe those two words don't naturally go together. Really, in essence, about the CVMA insurance program is that as you know, veterinarians and clinics and locums have evolved through the years, so have we in our program. And really, as the entire insurance industry is changing, we want to brief you on a few things that we're seeing in terms of trends and really how the CVMA insurance program is here to protect you. So I'll bypass some slides really quickly just because Denise was nice enough to introduce ourselves, both Christy and myself here in terms of our roles and experience within Western. And yeah, really quick run through on the agenda there. So as I said, action-packed items here. We want to run through some key things that really make this program kind of work and provide significant value to participating members. Some tips on how do you insure to value. What does it mean? Why is it actually worth your time and making sure that when you partner with whether it's a sales representative or your commercial insurance advisor, making sure you're providing up-to-date information on your business and your work. That's really how we in the role as brokers, we partner with you to protect you properly and make sure that if you do sustain a claim, that you have as smooth as a process as possible. Importance of risk management, loss prevention. We're again in the business of trying to reduce claims so that if again there's a structure in a way that we can provide some significant value back to members. We're going to talk about how that all works. And then, of course, Christy's going to run through the employee benefits program. So just a very quick background on Western as a whole. Christy and I, again, we work for Western Financial Group. We're one of the largest insurance brokerages across Canada. So we're fortunate to be our parent company as well, Easton Mutual. We've got offices really all across Canada, over 210 offices. And our size and experience here within our Winnipeg office, where Christy and I are based in, is in the administration of provincial and national insurance programs that we tailor specifically to members. And it's something that we've been very fortunate for doing well, not Christy and myself doing it for 45 years. It's a few years older than what we are. We've been doing that for provincial and national associations for 4+ decades, and very proud again to be one of Canada's top 100 employers for 2 years running in 2022 and 2023. A little bit about our partnership with the CVMA. So we've been very fortunate to partner with them in their administration of the commercial insurance and employee benefits program since 2005. And we're very proud to partner with, I think that number is even closer to 2,000 now, veterinary clinics, locums, and technicians that are across Canada. One thing that's very unique about our programs is that as opposed to having 2,000 or 1,900 individuals all renewing on various days of the 365 days across the year, we have common renewal dates. And we'll talk a little bit about that more on the benefits of that and kind of, pardon my concept here about bulk buying insurance. Long story short, if you go to an insurance company once in a very organized fashion and everybody comes together and you renew on a common renewal date, it's kind of like buying groceries at Costco, right? You bulk buy, you pass on, you get some savings there. And so that's part of the mechanism and how we, partner both on the commercial insurance and then on the benefit side and having common renewal dates. And that pool concept provides a whole lot of benefits to members that you'll see on an annual basis, as well as keeping your rates a lot more stable through some fairly tumultuous times. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, what we've seen the last few years, the impacts on the marketplace and how the programs responded to help provide, again, tremendous value for program participants. So one key thing here, I want to make sure I spend a few minutes and getting a little bit away from some of the text-heavy items is showing a quick little visual here. If there's one thing I hope that you can take away from my time of my portion of the presentation is an understanding of, let's say, this chart and really what differentiates, the CVMA insurance program from any other either traditional insurance program or just, standard product offering. You walk into your broker's office, maybe that's right down the street in small town Ontario or otherwise. How do they purchase insurance and what makes this program very unique and different? And really, it is the concept of protected self-insurance. So the best way, most symbolic way I can kind of reference is, for those of you who either were fortunate to grow up or maybe you have a pool in your backyard right now, or you have a cabin on the lake and you go for a swim often, we know when you go for a swim, sometimes you can get let's say into the deeper end and you're maybe up to your neck in insurance, and that's what I kind of talk about in terms of the traditional insurance program. Really, you're operating as a team of one. And anyone who's not on a pooled program such as this, you're a team of one. And when we have, let's say, periods of uncertainty like COVID-19 or the hardening of the marketplace, which has really happened in the insurance world here the past few years for a variety of different reasons, the waters can get very unstable and very rocky. And when you're kind of left at your team of one out there, if you sustain a very large claim, or you're operating in the general marketplace where nearly 80% of your premiums are exposed to the marketplace, the waters can get very rocky and it can be very difficult to keep your neck above water. The best way I can symbolize the CVMA insurance program, it's kind of like standing in the shallow end. So you've only got insurance really up to your waist, and that's because we keep 42% of premiums are held in what we call a member-owned pool of funds that we use the first portion of it to actually pay out claims. And if there's any surpluses over and above left over, we are in the position of providing returns of premium back to members. So that we find is a much more equitable way to kind of, like I said, still be in the water, but only have insurance up to your waist as opposed to up to your neck. And we believe through risk management, loss prevention, the different things we do to educate, veterinary clinics and DVMs on how they can do certain things to prevent the frequency and severity of losses. We believe you should have skin in the game too. Why should excess surpluses in premiums that aren't used to pay for claims, why should that stay within the insurance industry as profit? Nothing brings us more pride is when we can say, hey, look, we thought, the rates needed to be this, and here's what actually claims were. They were here. This difference, let's give that back to members. Let's give that back to you. You did your part. And so if I pull away from that, this is probably the most text-heavy slide I've got here. You can see a little bit of, again, how that works and mechanizes. So like I said, 42% of premiums are owned by members. And the first layer of claims are paid up to $500,000 from that pool. Every dollar over and above that is paid by the excess insurers. And so you have complete insurance protection. You're in the shallow end. And really, again, when we pull together and work together as a team, and you kind of lock arms as a team of 1,900, you're spreading your risk out. So if you did have, under that traditional marketplace that I referenced in the last slide there, if you did have, God forsaken, like a fire that comes through and you have a $2 million loss to your building, well, boy, under a traditional structure next year, you're either going to have a very tough time finding insurance or your premium is going to be extremely high. I'm sure, again, some of you on the line here have seen that with, you get in a car accident, your car insurance goes up, or, you purchase home insurance and you're never really getting returns of premium back. This is a better structure and a better way that's innovative. And we've been doing for 45 plus years with other large national and provincial associations to just provide more value and more structure, more opportunities to really truly know that the rates that you're paying for insurance are actually what the claims that are being paid. It's not just, okay, extra surpluses of funds, they're staying within the insurance industry as profit. We want to give that back to you, like I said. So just as a quick stat, just under $850,000 has been returned in the past 3 years back to members. It's approximately nets out to be about 4% of savings. And otherwise, those funds would stay within the insurance companies, let's say coffers as excess profit. We just think there's a better way of doing it. And that's really a key area that mechanizes and makes this program what it is and the success that it has been for coming up on 2 decades here now. As a quick pivot, if we talk a little bit about, I referenced about the commercial insurance marketplace and some of the challenges that we've been seeing. And this is a great visual as well to just show a chart on, let's say, the increases in the frequency and severity of losses. If you look closely, look at that year, the one that our big outlier being 2016. I should be doing a giveaway here, Christy, if we had a virtual gift, or normally with our staff, I'd toss out a chocolate bar or something. Can't really do that through the computer here. Maybe put in the chat, what do you think, who remembers what happened in 2016? If that comes to mind, we'll do 10 bonus points to whoever remembers that. We'll give 5 seconds. That's okay. Nobody's done it so far. So that was the Fort McMurray, Alberta fires. And that is to the date, the largest natural disaster in Canadian history. $4.1 billion of losses occurred right there. You might say, hey, I'm in Surrey, BC, or, I'm in Timmins, Ontario. Why do I care? That's not me. I'm not in Fort McMurray. That affects the industry as a whole. When we see the increases of frequency of weather-related losses, that puts stressors on the marketplace, and ultimately it results in costs increasing. And we've got to find a way as a program to alleviate that. And really, like I said, only be swimming up to our waist in insurance and not up to our neck, to where the insurance industry has all the control or way more control about your rates. That's one of the benefits to this program. And really, for those of you who are on the line here and joining us today and are already current members and program participants of the program, we thank you again for the trust that you placed in us. But I can reference and say, boy, you've done very well for being on the program for the last 3 years, because we've seen other traditional marketplaces, businesses increase 50, 100, 150% in increases in their rates, sometimes on an annual basis, for those who are fully exposed to the insurance marketplace. Some industries are much more difficult than others. You can say like the hospitality industry, that was really challenging for hotels. But these sort of market losses are, let's say, becoming much more common. And we've got to find a way to, like I said, fight back, for lack of a better term. So we are seeing the marketplace, it's starting to stabilize a little bit. However, as we referenced, the cost of reinsurance, which is what insurance companies purchase over and above, it's kind of excess insurance that they purchase, it's still high. So insurance rates are still a bit higher than I think we'd all like them to be. I don't think anyone's sitting here saying, boy, I'd love to pay a whole lot more for my insurance. I don't think anyone's doing that right now. But like I said, the key is, how do we mechanize and have a structure that's more fair to CVMA members to know that the claims that you're paying, the premiums that you're paying, are actually conducive to what the claims are that are being paid out? Because if we're wrong, I'd much rather say, well, let's give the surpluses back to you than, again, sticking in the coffers of insurance companies. That's just a more fair and equitable way, and something, like I said, that I think really makes us stand alone in the marketplace, both on the commercial insurance end as well as on the benefits end. So it's been, like I said, a great time to be on the program through some of this tumultuous stuff. So what are we seeing? What are we seeing in terms of differences in numbers? And not to overwhelm you with that, but it's just to say, well, if you think that's BS, or pardon, the chart is what does that even really mean? Look at no different or no recent than just this past 2 months ago. So in July, we had flooding in Southern Ontario. You obviously had the Jasper, Alberta wildfires. really, really difficult situation. Hailstorms in Calgary, flooding in Quebec. There were 228,000 claims in July alone. And the Insurance Bureau of Canada, which is our, let's say, national kind of overseeing that oversees the insurance industry, they referenced and said that there was 160,000 claims itself for the entire 2023 year, but let alone just last month or 2 months ago, there's 228,000 claims. So that's just to show you these weather-related losses, they're happening more and more and more. And it puts a stress on the industry to a degree, and that can sometimes drive up, let's say, premiums because what insurers are taking in versus what they're paying out, it is on the rise. So we've got to find a way to, like I said, do things better and also educate members on, hey, what are the tips and tricks that you can do through risk management, loss prevention to help reduce the frequency and severity so that if we come together as that team of 2,000 or 1,900, how do we reduce the opportunity for losses to happen? How to make sure that you're keeping your patrons safe, your staff safe, and operating your business in a way that you're confident knowing that A, your insurance is there to protect you, but B, you're doing the little things right to make sure that people are safe. And so we're seeing some trends in terms of like the increase of legal expense. DVMs, there's more. We're in a very litigious society, it seems like these days. We're seeming to becoming more and more like our American partners down south, where you look at somebody the wrong way and you're getting sued, or your license is being called into question. You need to, again, make an appearance before, the Veterinary College Board. Legal expense insurance is afforded to all members. It's actually a requirement under our program that provides great coverage and protection there so that if you do have a loss of that nature, you've got support. You've got not only financial support, but you've got a team of legal firms who, again, take care of this on a basis. These are specialists who do this and work on your behalf to make sure that you're protected and that your interests are protected. I reference as well cyber liability. I'm going to pivot really quickly to the next slide here. You say, Drew, this is a presentation of veterinarians. Why in the heck do you have the MGM casino listed? Well, one, it's a favorite of mine. When I go to Vegas, I stay at the MGM. And two, it's a great story that I'll try to reduce in, let's say, a minute or less, which is really challenging for me, on here is someone who, whether you're large or you're a medium-sized business or in a small town in Saskatchewan, the reality is we are in a world where cyber liability losses, it is the biggest concern in our industry. 10 years ago, cyber liability coverage didn't exist because we didn't have bad actors, whether domestic or international, hacking into people's businesses and taking their personal information, and then either, doing a form of kidnap and ransom where they're saying, you know what, we're taking over your mainframe, and if you don't pay us $75,000, all of your stuff is going to be wiped. Well, there's a lot of complex types of losses that can happen, and the MGM Grand one is a really interesting one for those who have maybe seen that because it is public. Long story short, somebody basically went onto LinkedIn and found the phone number of a tech support person, called in and said, I've misplaced, and acted like they were a staff member themselves, said, I've misplaced my password. Can you please send me through the password? Just through some basic internet research on LinkedIn. I think it was within a business day, a $34 billion company was completely corrupted, in which slot machines were down, people couldn't get into their rooms. It took days for this to get fixed because someone simply called in as a bad actor and basically got access to their mainframe, put in again a request for millions of dollars of ransom coverage, and I think overall, the loss finished roughly around $100 million. So that was in October of 2023. You say, well, and why that's not me, we're not the MGM. It's just to say, hey, this can happen to anybody. We've had losses under the CVMA insurance program for veterinary clinics that have had similar type things. And so we have a duty and an onus on our part to say, you know what, we need to protect veterinary clinics in a way here that provides them a level of coverage that also is naturally included within your program package, but also some choice. We want you to have flexibility, right? And based on your needs and based on how you're set up and your exposure, you might want to move to, let's say, tier 2 or tier 3 of coverage. So long story short, cyber liability is a very real and growing trend within our industry. And we, again, like I said, take a proactive approach in saying, if you want to join the CVMA insurance program, you have to have cyber liability coverage. A good tell for a good broker in our industry is if you are ever offered a policy and it doesn't include cyber liability coverage, for me, that's kind of a tell saying, ooh, they may not know exactly what's going on. And that's where you should look to the experts here in Western and the CVMA insurance program and making sure that you're protected with a form of coverage with also some options over and above. I want to pivot back here as I'm looking up to my time here. Christy, how am I doing so far?
You are doing great, Drew.
5 minutes ago? Okay, I want to make
Yeah,
sure
you're
I
good.
take a breath here, but also give some time to my colleague Christy to run through her presentation, and of course have some time for Q&A. But I referenced earlier a little bit about risk management and loss prevention, and that is one of the keys. And to if you're going to all work together as a team and have a common enroll date, we're really operating as one team here. We want to make sure that we provide tips and tricks on how can you reduce the frequency and severity of losses, either as a locum or as a veterinary clinic yourself. Whether that's basic things about, sweep logs and making sure that you're in the winter months for those who are in, cold areas of the country, that you're salting your walkways in the front of your building, and doing little things like that. We've got a CVMA risk management at a glance, let's say document that's also found within the CVMA insurance portal that is designed to provide you the intel and the information that you can really use yourself or review with your staff on, hey, here's some little things that maybe add to already the great things that you do as just, sound operational businesses to keep your patrons safe and keep your staff safe. Hey, you may learn one or two things there. And those are also found typically within our CVMA renewal packages. So we just come through 2 months ago, our renewal date for the commercial program here that I'm referencing for July 1st. But this insurance portal provides you tremendous access to your policy wordings, as well as, again, risk management materials that can provide you some great insight. So I've listed the website there at the bottom. Feel free to log on there and take a peek for those who are already members and program participants. Hopefully you've been on there in the past. But again, in addition to that, you've got a team of commercial insurance advisors who specifically only work with veterinary clinics. That's another nice benefit. We're not generalists here. We are specialists, both Christy and her team, as well as on our side. We have people who work, with hundreds of veterinary clinics. So they speak your language, they know your business, and they're here to partner with you so that you've got really great service and customer experience on all sides. We take that really, really critically important here. So I also want to provide, let's say, some key tips here. Denise has, said, well, let's see if we can also provide a little bit of learning of like, hey, what are the things and why maybe do, when you work with a commercial insurance advisor, why do they maybe follow up with you on an annual basis to sometimes, hopefully it doesn't come across as pestering, but making sure that we know, hey, what is your equipment list and what is the amount of stock that you have on site of your clinic? Or if you're a locum and you've got mobile equipment that's going with you in the field, what's the value of that? We really do that for two sakes. One, again, our role in your broker and partnering with you is to make sure that we paint the full picture and the proper picture to our insurance companies, right? We never want you to start, let's say, a new form of care, coverage, you're small animal primarily, and then all of a sudden, you're doing some large animal work and working with some high value horses, and you think, I'm just doing with one who really cares. That stuff can be really critically important, so that if you do have material changes to your business or your operation or your care, always make sure you reach out to your advisor. And the reason why we do that is making sure that we, like I said, represent properly the insurance companies, what you're doing, but also to know that your insurance limits are correct. So little tip here, within every commercial policy, not just ones through the CVMA insurance policy or program, we have what's called a co-insurance example or a co-insurance clause. So basically what that requires you to do is to make sure that you insure to a minimum amount of 90% usually, to make sure that you're properly paid out. Because as you see here, 99% of claims and losses are actually partial losses. It's not that your entire building burns down. Again, touch wood, that never happens. It's that, some tough weather comes through and maybe you have some damage to your roof, for lack of a better term. And so you've seen, I've listed the formula here, and I've expanded that by kind of giving you an example here of saying, hey, if you have one of those partial losses, what can be the result by not insuring properly, and how you would share in a loss, which for us as brokers, we have a fiduciary responsibility because we care and we want to make sure that you're protected properly, that you have the proper limits in place. And that is a shared partnership. We have a whole bunch of technology and work that we do on our end, but we also need you to tell us, hey, you know what? I went out and bought that new X-ray machine and it's worth $90,000. By doing that and putting an endorsement to your policy, we can make sure that if you do have a loss, such as this, you're not paid out incorrectly. So I've just done a quick example here of, 90%, if you had a building that was worth $750,000, but mistakenly you're only insured to $500,000 because you said, I only want to insure into $500,000. And you really actually need $750,000. By only insuring at roughly about 74% of where you need to be, look, that $100,000 loss, you're actually only going to get paid by the insurance company just over $74,000. And then what happens is it comes out of your pocket plus the deductible. Let me reiterate and say, we do a ton of work on our end to avoid this, but we also need your partnership and making sure that you provide equipment lists and updates to your business as it changes. That's our best way to avoid these instances happening, to make sure that you insure to value is what we say. So like I said here, you've got options to insure, whether it's replacement cost or actual cash value. We do building evaluations on an annual basis to make sure we have the proper reconstruction value of your property, and making sure that, like I said, you connect with us. We never want you to forget and then regret by having a loss because you forgot to tell us about, you know what, I'm now doing this form of operation, or I'm now doing, I've now done this renovation to my existing clinic, and we're going to be under renovation for 6 months. Always make sure you reach out to your advisor to give them that 411. We want to make sure we give the insurance company the 411 so that if we need to make tweaks or changes to the policy, so we know that it's going to respond properly for you. That is how we all partner together to make sure that if you do sustain a loss, that you're paid out properly. One thing I want to reference here before I pivot through to and turn over to Christy is one really unique feature under this program that I haven't seen elsewhere within other either competing provincial programs or just standard marketplace offers is we have what's called a comprehensive blanket limit. So by us, again, ensuring that your building is insured to the right limit and using the technologies that we have to make sure that's the case, and as well as you providing updated equipment lists and stock lists on an annual basis. What we're able to do is make sure that we provide for the 4 things: building, equipment, stock, and then business interruption, which are key coverages under your property form. By us running and operating this program as we do, and having consistent communication with you, our insurance partners over and above have agreed to provide, at no extra cost to you, a comprehensive blanket limit. So it takes basically those 4 items, adds them all together, and provides an extra cushion of coverage over and above, so that for some reason, if a claim takes longer to get settled, or somehow there's material, there's cost overruns with this material because somehow the economy is changing and all of a sudden, the price of softwood lumber goes up 10% overnight. That stuff happened, a few years back. I think we all remember that. This provides you that extra cushion over and above at no cost to you, because again, you're showing the insurance company that, hey, we're providing that consistent communication. We know exactly what your risk exposure is. If for some reason something ends up being a little bit more expensive, no problem. You've got the comprehensive blanket limit over and above as a cushion. So just a really great feature that is, like I said, also between that and the protected self-insurance structure that I referenced earlier. Remember those pie charts? Some really unique things that make this program innovative. It provides significant value to members so that you know that you're being taken care of. Like I said, we take your care and your insurance extremely seriously. And it's a privilege to partner with both the CVMA and members across the country to make sure that you've got a policy and a package and a program that works for you, that you've got, again, ownership of premium, the potential for returns of premium, and really a better way to ensure that helps you in your time of need. If you have that big loss, you really shouldn't have to pay through the nose as you would if you're on the open market. And those are some of the, like I said, the unique things that makes our program different and innovative, and provides great opportunities for veterinary, for locums and for veterinary clinics into the future. And so As I reference here, we're here to support. So please don't hesitate to, like I said, reach out for those who are existing on the program. If you do have questions, for those who are interested in joining, we'll make sure that we put, like I said, our contact information here. I think Denise will also probably send an email out afterwards. And then again, happy to take your questions as well through at the back end. But with that being said, I'm going to turn it over, I think, right on the dot here, time-wise.
Right on the dot.
To my partner, Christy, who's going to lead you through a little bit more about the benefits program, but most importantly, some of the ways that we support CVMA members with some very strong initiatives on mental health and wellness and some things that are really, really important in this day and age. So I'll turn it over to you, Christy. Thanks.
Totally. Thank you very much, Drew. Yeah, so what I would want to start with is we've talked a lot about protecting your business, and now I just want to make sure that we spend some time talking about protecting your people. We recognize that it is a very competitive market out there today, and you have made the decision to, trust Western. And for us, we want to make sure that we have the right partners in place to make sure that you do absolutely get the most from your plan. First and foremost, we do recognize that every single business is going to have a different priority when it comes to employee benefits. It might be the retention of employees. It might be trying to attract new employees. You may be looking to have the most comprehensive plan on the market, or you might want to make sure that you're offering just the basics of insurance. What we want to make sure as your trusted partner is to make sure that we are able to help all of your employees and yourselves in a time of need. We recognize that in your veterinary space in today's world, stress can be present in every single day in every type of a conversation. Specifically, mental health and wellness is very, very important and a very relevant topic right now for both men, women, and everyone who would relate. So for the next 15 minutes or so, I just want to make sure that everyone on this call today has a really good understanding about the various supports that are available to you through Western and our 4 key partners. So the first one that I'm going to spend a little bit of time on today is TogetherAll. TogetherAll is a peer-to-peer mental health support platform. This would have been originally introduced back in 2022, so I'm pretty certain that most people on the call today would be quite familiar with TogetherAll and this platform. If you are not, the key thing here is really around that peer-to-peer support. It really does allow you to connect with other individuals who might be experiencing similar struggles or circumstances that you are having today. Sometimes it is more convenient and easier to talk to someone anonymously. You may not want to have a face-to-face or a conversation that is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. And TogetherAll is a really wonderful opportunity for people to connect, talk about struggles that they may be having. And that is one of the biggest things that we have noticed, and if you'll flip to the next slide, Drew, is that the struggle is truly real and very relevant in the veterinary space. TogetherAll really has been a success over the last few years here. You can see here that when we look at reaching those underserved individuals, from those who have used the service, 17% have identified as BIPOC or 15% as male. I think the more often that we can reach those target audiences, the better. It is always a really important thing there to make sure that everyone is getting support. Some really eye-opening stats here, I would say, is that almost half the people who have utilized TogetherAll have not had any other access to seeking mental health support. So these are individuals who might have been struggling and didn't really know where to go. And TogetherAll has actually been able to help that. When you take a look there at the bottom of those top themes, anxiety, stress, depression, relationships, all of these things are going to be very true struggles that every single person will deal with at some point in their life. And this is where TogetherAll can come in as that resource. Sadly to see here, almost 1 in 5 people who have utilized TogetherAll have actually considered suicide in the past 6 months. We realize that there is a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety that comes in the work that you and your employees do every single day. And there are going to be times where they don't know where to turn. And if we can at least have one of those individuals reaching out to get to TogetherAll And you can see here that about a third of those actually did have someone who was a Together All clinician who does monitor the chats and the conversations that are happening. They identified that they should probably reach out to that person and make sure that they are really doing okay. So it's great to see that people have been able to take advantage of this resource, and that it has been an opportunity for them to have a bit more of a safer space where they may not have found that to be otherwise. So next area I would want to kind of touch upon here is going to be with Green Shield. So if you do happen to have any sort of health and dental coverage today through your benefits plan with Western, you would probably notice that the claims adjudicator is Green Shield Canada. They are actually a not-for-profit, and which is really what makes them such a great partner with Western. And then byproduct with the CVMA is that they truly are about serving Canadians, and they have a very, very big focus on mental health and wellness. For them, a big focus is helping people access mental health services more conveniently and easier. Over the last couple of years specifically, they have had a really big focus on women. So, oh, the sound went off. I just saw a note. Drew, can you still hear me?
I can hear you okay, and it looks like your microphone is still active.
Okay.
So that might just be limited to
Melanie
our
there.
attendee here, to Melanie. Let's see if I'm not sure if Denise is able to assist on that, but it looks like we're okay so far. Sorry about that, Melanie. Go ahead, Christy. We'll see if we can.
Okay, perfect. They can hear us both there. Okay, great. Good stuff, Melanie. Just want to make sure. Yeah, so one of the amazing things that Green Shield does is actually they have provided access to, first off, 1 hour free virtual therapy to every woman, anyone who identifies as a woman or any sort of other gender in Canada. So what this allows them to do is to get a free year subscription to internet-based cognitive behavioral therapy. I'll speak to a little bit more about this on the next slide, but it really is a great way to open up the conversation around mental health. They have a full out wellness library, and to date, they have actually served over 90,000 Canadians and have invested over $4 million into different community mental health and partnerships relating to this initiative. So it is great to see that they really have been committed to this space and are recognizing the importance of making sure that people have access to the support when they actually do need it. On the next slide here, I just want to talk about how our partnership with Green Shield has really helped your dollars go a little bit further. Most plans today, you will have coverage what would be considered for your paramedical services. So that would be for your chiropractors, massages, things like that. But it would most often also include for mental health professionals, such as psychologists, social workers, etc. Now, in the everyday direct market, it can cost over $200 or $250 per session just to have an hour with one of those doctors. Now, if you only have, a few $100s, 500 in your plan, you're not going to get very far from these sessions. One of the great things that Green Shield has done is connected us to their network with the preferred pricing, which can really help your dollars go further. What we recognize also is that it's not easy to just kind of connect in proper with someone that you're going to trust, and you want to build that relationship here. So through their platform here, they have a very extensive matching process where you can actually identify the areas that you would like to have treatment for. And they do have specific areas like trauma, PTSD, burnout, stress management, all things that are going to be very relevant to the veterinarian community. You can be connected to a therapist within 24 to 72 hours. And the great thing here is you can actually choose the therapist that you want. You can see on screen here that the various counselors are actually going to highlight what they can focus in on. So you can see Lee, she really has a good focus on anxiety and depression, whereas, Audra, she focuses a little bit more on stress management and attachment issues. You get a 15-minute free consultation. some people like to call it like speed dating. So this is, an opportunity to make sure that you feel a good connection in, because there would be nothing worse than you trying to go through a session with someone that you don't trust or that you haven't been able to connect in with. Then they also have a different opportunity of the internet-based cognitive behavioral therapy. So if you don't want to go down the route of actually having, virtual therapy sessions with an actual person, you can do things that are more self-led. This is primarily around anxiety and depression, but it also focuses really more on that self-positive coping strategies. So when you are in those circumstances, you can walk away with resources and treatments for yourself that you can actually change how your brain is maybe processing some of those situations that you're at help there. Also, you could have this as a self or a coach led. So you could have the ability to actually connect in with a coach over a month, and that would actually have the ability to help them work through some of those problems that you have here. So the biggest thing is that recognizing that everyone is going to deal with mental wellness in a different way. Some are going to be very open. Some are going to want to navigate this journey on themselves. Some just might be a little bit support on the way. So through Green Shield, we found another opportunity here for people to make sure that they have a chance to, get the treatment that's going to work best for them. It's not really on us to decide how someone needs to get that treatment. So this is just a really great area that we've been able to focus in on. On to the next one here. Wonderful. So with Western Financial Group, and as a business and a business owner, a lot of you may also have coverage for life insurance. So this would be a type of insurance that would probably be part of your base plan. And with this, you would have access to what we are called a business assistance program. So ARET is our key partner that we have here who helps us offer a business assistance program and an employee assistance program. So I will speak to the employee assistance program next. But the business assistance program, as the name entails, is really meant for businesses. As many of you on the call today, maybe a smaller clinic or a smaller vet hospital who doesn't really have the help of an extensive HR team. This is a really wonderful support here where it allows you to have access to hundreds of thousands of articles, podcasts, resources that really act as your own little mini HR team. There is a website here that actually has podcasts that are focused on mental health. I've come across a couple of these that are actually related specifically to the veterinarian space. Real Grief, the truth impact of losing a beloved companion animal. So it's little resources like that can really go a long way for businesses. If you have employees who are struggling, as a business owner, you are able to recommend some counseling support. You're able to get HR, legal, or financial advice, things that you may not have access to in your day-to-day network. It really allows us to, help guide you there. One of the biggest things that I feel that this program does allow access to is a program called Critical Incident Stress Debriefing. This is a short-term program that is really designed to help a business deal with a trauma, a tragedy, a very unexpected crisis that occurred for your employees, for your business, that you would like help trying to help them with here. What this does, it is a minimum of a 2-hour session that brings your clinic and the employees together to help them talk through what happened. It could be a wildfire like we've been experiencing in Jasper. It could unfortunately be the death of a coworker, some sort of a natural disaster that happens, or there could just be a different type of, a untimely or unexpected death of an animal on an operating table that has really, shook the clinic. They have a very extensive network that can really help walk through this and bring people together. It's really meant to address the fact that everybody deals with grief in their own way. And by having a session like this, it just, opens up the room. It takes away the stigma of how people may feel and really brings everyone together to help deal with this traumatic event, explain the different stages of grief, how you can come together, and how to really move forward into the future here. I think this is one of our most valuable things that does come out of our business assistance program. I know we have talked extensively with this, specifically with the Wellness Committee. And this is just a really great opportunity as a business to make sure that, again, your employees feel supported and that you can kind of rally together in a time of need. Okay. So the next one here is going to be an employee assistance program. Now, I recognize that not everybody on the call today will have access to an EAP, but if you are fortunate to have that, this is truly what we would consider to be a traditional counseling service. One of the very unique and wonderful things about our partnership with ARET is that they have recently raised the bar, and where many companies only offer 12 hours of a counseling support as of July 1st, ARET and has now upped that to 15 hours of counseling support there. And this is really meant for you and your family members as well, who are able to walk away with goal-oriented, outcome-focused levels of support here. There again is a really extensive intake team that allows us to, work to make sure that we are addressing the needs. And that's the other thing with counseling. Again, it's not just going to be one type of therapy. There are many different types of therapy out there, whether that's mindfulness, solution-focused, cognitive-based therapy that, people need to work through for themselves. So all of the therapists in this network are going to have at least minimum of 5 years experience and part of a registered body. So again, just another area that you can focus on. So if you have maybe already utilized all of your support through your traditional benefits plan and you have access to an EAP, that is great. Or if this is maybe your first foray into looking for some counseling support, we are able to actually have, these counselors. You can start with your employee assistance program, and then you can continue on with them once your hours have been used, and then put that through your traditional plan as well. So really, at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that anyone that we do partner with is going to make sure that they can be cohesive. And that, again, the number one priority here is just making sure that anyone can access any sort of mental health and support that they need to keep them healthy, and ideal state is going to be keeping them at work and productive as possible. On to my next slide there, Drew. So just to make sure that we do leave some time here. So to wrap it up, we do recognize, though, that unfortunately some folks will ultimately need to go on leave, whether that's a short-term or long-term disability. As Drew alluded to at the start of the call, Wawanesa is our parent company, and they are also the provider of our benefits for our life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment, and then short to long-term disability. Their case managers really are top-notch, and they have a really big focus on mental health and wellness. So if you are ever in that space where you are finding yourselves or one of your employees on leave, they have a really extensive training that they go through when it comes down to mental health diagnosis. They have training, they have interviewing, they have really great diagnostic tools, as well as the support rehab for mental health and physical claims. The goal is always going to be getting people back to work, but they recognize the sensitivity that comes with a diagnosis like this. And they want to make sure that, their folks and their case managers are trained in a way that is sensitive and going to recognize the various struggles that people are going through, with the ultimate goal of, getting people back to a place of really wellness in both the mental, physical space that they have there. So after this call, we do have a one-pager that does highlight all of these great things. It has QR codes. We currently have it in English, and I should have the French version available shortly after. And from there, I can send that over to yourself there, Denise. And then we can go through there, and it makes it really clear and easy to see what is a free resource, what is going to be part of your basic benefits plan, as well as what might be a fee-for-service opportunity. But really, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time today covering this off here. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. I don't see any in the chat here, but would love to take some time.
Thank
That's
you very
great.
much, Drew and Christy. I looks like my camera is still not working.
Nope.
I just want to thank you both for your presentation. That was great. And I will open the floor to questions. If anyone has any, feel free to put it in the chat or raise your hand. Not seeing anything come through yet. And Drew, Christy, feel free to add anything if you felt anything was missed out.
You know what? I don't have too much right now. I'm just going to quickly post in the chat here as well. One thing I know I spoke a little bit about was about protected self-insurance and some of that uniqueness, and just a quick kind of overview on what makes the commercial insurance program so unique. I'm just going to post a link to a nice little 2-minute YouTube video that just provides a nice little quick overview on those who are on the line here. If you are interested in joining the program or maybe need to connect in, I know this this presentation is going to be made public and obviously sent out by the CVMA, but for those who are, like I said, interested in learning more about the program, we'll make sure that our both Christy and myself's contact information is provided through, but also put, like I said, a quick video link here that you can share with either your colleagues or your staff members if wanting to learn a little bit more on kind of what makes this program so unique. I'll put that in the chat here in just about 2 seconds, so you can always use that as an additional resource over and above.
Thank you, Drew. Christy, I think a question came in. There
Yeah,
is
I
someone.
see that.
Perfect.
Their plan to cover health and dental benefits. Are you talking at the CVMA level, Ashish, there, like for them to come up with a general plan for them to offer directly, or?
So yeah, hi. The thing is, like, I'm planning to start locoming as well as start my own little ambulatory practice. So I was
Okay.
looking for some dental or health benefit options. And as you were covering employee benefits and all other things in addition to the liability insurances, so I was just like curious that did I miss a slide which you could have used to explain, or do you guys even provide anything in that regards?
So currently, we do not have an individual product through Western that would be available to locums. Right now, our group benefits plan, to qualify as a group, you would have to have a minimum of 3 employees as part of your clinic or hospital or business in order to qualify as a group benefits plan as it is today. I do know that this is something that we have been looking into over there. I would say, though, however, we do have some really great partners here at Western Financial Group where we could always put a recommendation and we could do a referral over if you were looking to find some sort of an individual health and dental policy. However, we can definitely take this away as this has come up previously as something that we might want to further consider.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm looking here in the chat. It's fairly quiet. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe that means we've covered most of our topics we were hoping to hit today, but we can always leave that open for a few more seconds. But if as always, if like I said, there's additional either questions that maybe some pop in your mind in the following hours or coming days, please do not hesitate to reach out both to the CVMA or to ourselves, Christy and myself. It's critically important that CVMA members know that we are here to support you. We are here to administer your program, but to make sure that CVMA members know that you've got a program that is here to support you on all different levels, from a benefit perspective as well as commercial insurance. Insurance is not a lot of fun in general, but it's important to know, and it's nice to know that you've got a very comprehensive and well thought out program that is here to protect you in your time of need, and that's on all sides. So for those who, like I said, are interested, maybe haven't joined the program so far, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to put together a proposal for you to at least consider, and kind of go from there. So, but this was great, and we appreciate Denise. Thank you, Joel, Natalie, Dr. Kyle. I see is also here today. Thank you so much for letting us join here today, and we'll send it back to you for any other closing measures.
Thank you, Drew. I would see that Kathy has her hand raised. Did you have any questions, Kathy?
Oh, hello. Sorry, I was having some technical issues, and then when I came back on, it looked like the host was wanting to unmute me. So I didn't know if there was a question that came through or a comment that you'd like me to provide.
No, I don't think so. I think that's great. I think
Okay.
this is part of the technical difficulties we're having on Zoom today.
We're all having it. Thank you,
At
Denise.
least we saw the presentations and we can see our
Yes.
lovely speakers.
Yeah.
And
Hi, Joel.
great presentation. Thank you for sharing, because all this information is so important for our folks to get, especially in the information gathering phases, to be able to make good decisions when things do happen.
We appreciate that, and I posted just a quick comment there in the chat. And for the general, for everybody else on the line, we really appreciate Dr. Kyle here, your work in partnership with Christy and our team here to again just make sure that we understand the way that veterinaries' needs are changing and evolving, and the ways that we can best support. That is really about partnership and collaboration. And so the work that Dr. Kyle does is critically important to protecting veterinarians and making sure they have the supports that they need. So thank you for all your work so far, and we look forward to continued work.
Thank you, Drew. And it's a great collaboration. And I've been there. It's hard sometimes to know when the right time is to reach out for help. And when I reflect on that, I think I should have asked for help earlier. So I look at some of the employee assistance plan provisions that, for instance, a RET has, from the critical incident stress debriefing to counseling support. And I just provide that caveat that reach out. If you're wondering, should I chat with someone? Should I chat with a mental health professional or an HR expert or a legal expert? Do that. If it's something you're thinking about doing, then please do, because it will likely be the best call that you could have ever made.
Mhm.
Well said.
Thanks,
Thank you, Dr. Kyle. Yeah.
Hey, Drew and Christy, Joel here, just checking in to say thanks to everybody who joined in your presentation today, and thanks for the ongoing partnership and great support from Western Financial Group. We really, really appreciate it. So just wanted to say hello and thanks to everybody who joined the webinar today. Wishing everybody a safe onward journey wherever you are in this great country of ours today.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Joel.
Thank you, Drew and Christy, again. I do also want to mention before we head out on our day here today is that the webinar was recorded, and the recording will be made available on the CVMA YouTube channel, most likely the week of October 7th. So, and we will have a notification in our online from 339 newsletter as to when that is also available.
It's great.
Wonderful.
Perfect. So I don't see any further questions here, but last chance.
If not, yeah, we can take a couple of minutes back and let everybody be on their merry way. But thank you again, Denise, for arranging this, and thanks everybody again for joining today. And look forward to connecting further on how we can best support.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I wish everybody a great day.
Awesome. Thank you.